Hi there, and thanks again for joining me for Happiness Tips. Today we're going to talk about the role of worry and happiness. So what I want you to think about is how many of you out there are just worrying, worrywarts? How many of you are just feeling helpless to what you worry about? Or how about just the occasional worrier? We're all of those. Actually, all of us are a little bit worried, a little not worried. So I'm going to talk about the role of worry and happiness. They don't feel like they go together very well, do they? Because when you're really worried, when you're in that gridlock of worry, it's very hard to feel joyful and happy. So I ask you, how often are you worrying about something that's never going to happen? Probably pretty often. Research shows that 95% of what we worry about never manifest. Isn't that just awful? Like, you spent all this energy worrying about something and it never happens. And that's really the role of worry, because a lot of what we're doing is we're anticipating what we don't know or we think is going to happen. And there's not. I mean, if you want to get your brain into worrying, I'm worried I'm going to be late for work. I'm worried that I didn't meet that deadline. I'm worried that if we have a downturn in the economy, oh my God, I probably am going to lose my job. And then I'm going to worry about, well, I don't know if I have time to really do that nice dinner tonight. I mean, you can go on and on. What I find is that people train their brains to worry. Like, you're always in hypervigilant, anticipating when something bad's going to happen. And that is so unhealthy. It's so stressful. It takes up a lot. It zaps you of your life's energy. So what I say to you, it's a choice. I've worked with people and I've worked with my students, and sometimes I'll get someone who says, well, I'm just a chronic worrier. Okay, I say, but it's a choice. It's a choice that you're letting your mind kind of run you in that negative dialogue, always anticipating something else is going to happen. And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? It's endless. It doesn't take any energy to create that and keep it going. So what the key is to say to yourself, number one, am I worried about something realistic? Number two, is it I'm just anxious about meeting a deadline? So I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me. I was in the early parts of Lisa Schultz and Andrea Constantine created Speaking Your Truth. And it's an anthology of 49 women's stories. And it's a great read. It's so inspiring. So how I got involved is I knew they were going to create it. And as they started editing the stories, I started reading them and I started saying, wow, this is what my Izor character would say about this story. So what happens is I agree to actually do a character based on each one of their stories. Sounds good until I got about 25 of them done. And then I started panicking because I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get these done. I'm never going to finish these. Oh, I have, almost 25 more to do. And I thought, because I knew the deadline, the book launch, so I knew that they were going to be on time, even if I wasn't. So I pulled back and I said, how can I make this more doable? Because I'm now kind of in a gridlock. I'm not creative. I'm sort of just fearful that I'm not going to meet this deadline. So I did a meditation, and in this meditation I thought, in a time dimension, they're already done. They're already done up there. All I need to do is go there, pick one up, and bring it back. Now, could I really do that? Probably not. But it gave me a whole new, relaxation. Because what was happening at that point, I wasn't producing anything. I was just anxious. I was just nervous and anxious and worried that I wasn't going to meet the deadline. So every time I got anxious again, I would just say, they're already completed. They're just in the future. I'll just go pick one up and bring it back. So if you have something like a deadline, like a work deadline or whatever deadline, I know a lot of athletes that have deadlines that they're going to do a triathlon or they're going to do a marathon and they get anxious about, have I trained well enough for it? Sometimes it's just relaxing, because when we get into worry, we get into gridlock. And we shut ourselves down rather than give ourselves energy to get the task accomplished. So this week's tip is, think about when you're worried. As it happens, is it realistic? Is it just brain chatter? And if it's brain chatter, just say to yourself, stop. No, I'm not doing this anymore. I mean, literally, you can stop your brain from that loop that keeps replaying. Stop the loop. So this week, I hope you will join me in thinking about, when am I getting worried? Is it realistic? Can I do something about it? Can I stop it? Can I shift it? Because re-own your energy. If you're in a worried state, it sort of sucks you dry. And if you're not, you have the opportunity to be in a more peaceful, happy, and joyful place. Thank you so much for joining me for this tip. And if you're on Facebook, I hope if you like this tip, I know we're all worriers. I mean, none of us don't worry at some time. I hope you'll post a comment of when you were most worried in your life, how you shifted it. If you love this post, repost it to your friends on Facebook. Anyway, look forward to seeing you next week as well. Thanks so much.